Hi guys, welcome to Hoops Junction. Vladimir here. Today we're talking about why the back-to-backs are killing the NBA. The game is hurting, and back-to-backs is part of the main reason why. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to give you 3 reasons why back-to-back games, especially with the CBA agreement, are hurting the NBA. Number 1, we're going to see, and we have been seeing, a ton of resting of players. I think it's been like 11 games in or 12. It's been 14 games in overall, I believe, for most teams. But like 10 games in, players are already getting rest. LeBron James rested against the Indiana Pacers. That was one of the Cleveland Cavaliers' losses. It's just so odd because the teams are playing so many back-to-back games, and it's early that they're resting players already. It's not like we've been 30 games in, 40 games in. We've only been like 14 games in, and teams feel the need to rest players already. Even like Greg Popovich, he was going to rest all of his starters to let his bench play. I believe it was last week, just because of so many back-to-backs. The league has always had back-to-back games in the schedule, but with the new CBA that was done during the lockout and everything like that, they just compressed too many of them back-to-back. I mean, it's ridiculous. They can comprise a new deal with a limited amount of back-to-backs because that's not good, which leads into my second reason. Reason number 2 why back-to-backs are killing and draining the NBA is poor quality of basketball. You got to understand, when you're playing back-to-back games, you're traveling from one city to the next, unless it's like a home-at-home, like for example, the New York Knicks played the Charlotte Hornets. Charlotte played in New York, then they flew back down to Charlotte. Unless it's something like that, if you got to fly from like the Golden State Warriors, they had to go to LA, then they had to go to, I believe they had to go to like Sacramento, then they had to fly somewhere else. I mean, all of these games on the schedule on the docket that you have to fly so many different places. Number 1, you're jet lag. Number 2, you're recovering from the game that you played the day before. So your quality and your sleep and your rest and your recovery is not going to be there. So the Golden State Warriors are a perfect example where they blew out a team by 40 the night before, and then they lost to the Lakers by 20 the next day, which is, everybody was like mind boggled about it. They were like, well, like the Lakers are doing their thing. They have a nice young nucleus, which we do have. We do have a nice young nucleus, but the fact of the matter is, if a team plays the night before and they're going on a back-to-back to play a team that hasn't played, most likely they're going to get blown out. That's why we've been seeing so many blowouts. It's just for the simple fact that the team is coming off a back-to-back. Like when Portland lost to the Knicks and then they go to Cleveland and allow Cleveland to score 80 points in a half, it's due to the simple fact that they're playing a back-to-back. And same thing with the Los Angeles Lakers. Lakers beat the Warriors by 20 2 weeks prior. Then coming off a back-to-back, they lose by 43. And that the back-to-back is a huge reason because of the poor quality. You could watch one game where you could watch your favorite star. You know, he goes efficient. He's like 11 for 20. He scores 30 points. Then the next night, just because he's so tired from the night before, he shoots a dud. He goes like 5 for 21. And that's because of all the back-to-back games. And the third and last final reason why back-to-backs are harming the NBA, and they really need to consider changing it or reducing them, is oversaturation. You see this with the NFL, where the NFL used to have games on Sunday and Monday. Then they added a Thursday night game, getting closer to the playoffs. But then they just instituted it permanently. And what we saw with those Thursday night games is a lack of quality in officiating, a lack of quality in play. A lot of those Thursday night games got a lot of low ratings, and they're still getting low ratings because we get football on Sunday all day. We get the Monday night game, then we're just going to get another Thursday night game. It's just like, it feels like it's too much, especially where a game where there are 52 players and there's so much coordination that has to be done. There's just been so many mistakes. And when you're looking at the NBA's game, with all these back-to-backs and all the travel, it's excessive travel is way more than it's ever been before. With all the excessive travel, officiating, they're getting it wrong. You saw last season where a lot of missed calls, a lot of games were lost because of bad calls. Even this season, The Toronto Raptors lost a game because their tying shot didn't count because they're just so many. The officiating was bad because the refs are they're overextended. So there's so many games that they have to officiate, and the officiating crews, they're large during the regular season, but they're not as large as we think. There's like three refs per game or three refs per game, and they gotta travel just as much as the players. So the quality is going down. Like I said, for my reason number 2. But overall, just saturation. You could now think about this. You could watch the Knicks on MSG. You could watch the Knicks on ESPN. You could watch them on TNT, and then you could watch them on NBA TV. Sometimes you're getting the same game, depending where you live, 4 times, and you're watching the same team like 4 or 5 times during the string of the same week. So I think the NBA is teetering on the danger zone there, where it's a lot of oversaturation. Like, as much as I like Golden State and as much as I like the Cavs, I'm good on seeing them 4 times in a 1 week. I don't think I need to watch them 4 or 5 times in 1 week. I mean, unless that's your local station, your local team. Everybody knows, like, in the Northeast where I live, Knicks are like the local station. You can get the Knicks pretty much all the time. But when you're getting the Knicks, and then they're putting the Knicks on national TV, then they're putting them on NBA TV, it's too much. It's just like oversaturation. Same thing with the NFL. It's just like you feel like you're getting too much of a good thing. People say there could never be too much of a good thing, but, there's a saying. They say, show me a beautiful woman, and I'll show you a man that's tired of being with her. And that's kind of like what it is with the NBA. They're showing us a beautiful product, but eventually you're going to show us some fans that are just tired of watching it. Just due to the fact that the perceived value goes down because we're getting so many games on so many stations due to the new collective bargaining agreement. I mean, I know it's millions of dollars, but they have to kind of space it out where, we're not getting these weird games on Thursday, then Friday, then Saturday night, then Sunday midday. I mean, they got to redo the schedule, and they got to implement in a fashion where either we get, like, games on the blocks, so, like, maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday we get or Monday, Wednesday, Friday we get, like, a whole bunch of games, or whatever it is, like block scheduling for the games where we're getting 3 or 4 games in one night, then allow a day in between for travel. And then this way it doesn't feel like it's so saturated, because right now I love watching the games, don't get me wrong, but I know the casual fan, they're not going to look at it that way. They're just going to be like, oh, there's a game all the time. A lot of people don't take the regular season seriously, and putting so many games out and so many back-to-backs is lowering the value, is making the players, they're not recovering properly. They're, the market is there, but it's going to become oversaturated, and then the value is going to go down. So I think they got to limit the back-to-backs. Even if they have to extend the season for an extra week, I think that's way better, because what you're going to do is all the stars, they're going to play more games because they have rest. When they have rest, that means you're going to get a higher quality product, and teams are going to play up to their full potential. It's weird. Like, you'll watch a great team and they'll lose by 20, then 2 days later they'll blow a team up by 30. That inconsistency just comes from the back-to-backs. So with the new collective bargaining agreement, I hope they make this a priority. We'll see. I'm really worried about it. You guys might not be, but if you start seeing the quality of your games going down, you want to change the station. That's why. This is Vlad from Hoops Junction, where Hoops meets Hoopla. Peace.